Well, hello, everybody. This is Jeff Morton, your host of Let's Talk About It. This is a special broadcast on Saturday. We typically do this on Sunday at 3 o'clock Pacific time. But I've been learning so much about how the body works for the last 15 years now, ever since stage 4 cancer. And, I started taking this product here, Protandem, it's produced by Life Vantage, and it's an activator that kind of reactivates your mitochondria and your cellular structure. It get really complicated. The bottom line is, as we age, things happen, but there are also things in the world that can kind of jumpstart things back into gear. And tonight we're going to be talking about GLP-1 with several folks. I've got my youngest sister's going to join us tonight. We have Al and Susan Benjamin, who have a lot of information to offer. And also, Al has a testimony with PTSD and his military stuff and how these products that are helping him. We also have my good friend Tamara Leeton on the broadcast tonight. We go back a little ways. Her and Darren are good friends. And so we've got a lot of information we're going to unpack tonight. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about all of this. We're not going to have a broadcast tomorrow because we're doing it tonight. And I just really appreciate those of you who tune in or who listen to the program on the recorded side of it. Of course, comments are open if you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Rumble right now. We are live. You're welcome to join us and make comments and whatever. If you got a question or something, we'll try to get an answer for you as well. Without further ado, let me introduce to you Susie and Al Benjamin, Tamara Leeton, and my youngest sister, Gina. I can never do this right. Randolph. She got married, so I don't call her a Morton anymore. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk About It.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Okay, so I really don't know how we're going to do this because I've never had this many people on the podcast. I'm excited to have you all here. Thank you so much for doing this. And really what the heart of this program is all about is you talking about something that might benefit other people. It's about what you do to help other folks. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about you. I kind of want to start with Susie and Al Benjamin. Now, I've never met them before. I've watched several of their videos. They've been a part of Life Vantage for 7 years. Al, I'd like to open up the program with you. A little bit about yourself. And I read somewhere, I saw something where you had PTSD, and I'd kind of like you to talk about that for, a little bit. But tell us where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, first off, Jeff, thank you so much for having us on. It's an honor. So I really appreciate it. So Susie and I, we live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota now. We were born and raised, we both grew up together in Grand Forks, North Dakota. We met when we were 16, been together pretty much ever since. So
Wow.
It's been, it's been a while, 26 years. We've been married for 20. So.
Right on. Now, you have 5 kids?
Yeah, we do. Yep.
Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a blast. It's busy, but it's a blast. It's a good time for sure.
Well, tell me about your military career. If you can talk about that for a few minutes, and then just tell us what you did, where you were, and what was life like when you came home. Because if I remember, you talked about how some of the products that Life Vantage produces have helped you. Can you spend a few minutes talking about that, Al?
Sure. Yeah. So I joined the Navy in May of 2001. My plan was to join with a good pal of mine and on the buddy system. So he and I would go into boot camp together, go through all of that, and then go our separate ways. I decided I wanted to be a gunner's mate because at the time I thought that's what my great uncle did in World War II. It was not what he did in World War II, but I was committed to be a gunner's mate, so I was like, I'll just do that. Anyway, so fast forward after boot camp in August of 2001, I went on to my A school. That's where you learn like the basis of your rate or your job going to be. What's the most basic thing a gunner's mate needs to know to be a gunner's mate? And about a month later, 9/11 happened and everything kind of flipped upside down. What people with weapons experience and education were going to do for the military. So I went from A school to C school, a more specialized school for 5-inch guns and 54 caliber Mark 45 is what it was called. And then got to a boat, and then we were pretty fast to go on our first deployment, and that was in the sea. I ended up doing 4 deployments total, 32 and a half months deployed, 2 by sea and 2 by land. So yeah, I did the Navy on the blue side, which is us on the water, on ships, protecting oil terminals, taking care of pirates. They do actually exist, and they like to take over oil terminals. And this was kind of in the kickoff of global war and terrorism, all that. We launched Tomahawk missiles for that. That was interesting. But in any case, so my first 2 deployments were on the ship, and I was far away from people doing the good deeds or whatever. Then my ship decommissioned, and I went on a 3rd deployment. I got attached to the CVs, and I went this time boots on ground. I was stationed out of Kuwait, went up, did a bunch of runs to Iraq, and that was a lot different of a situation. That really saw a lot of things, did a lot of things there. And I didn't really, there was just a lot of stuff there. So I got out in 2006. And then when you join the military, you join for 8-year window. Okay. So I chose to do 5 years active duty. And then I had 3 years sitting in inactive ready reserve. So I was a civilian. I grew my hair out, beard, everything, went to college. And with a couple weeks left of that 3-year window, I got orders in the mail. So I got stop loss, and I went back over to the sandbox, is what we affectionately call it. So I did another year deployment in the sandbox, and then I came back and I was out of the military. So that 3rd deployment, there was a lot of stuff that just didn't get taken care of as far as healing and whatnot. And I feel like the 4th tour kind of exacerbated it and kind of brought it back up, bubbled it back up. And it was after then that I was diagnosed with PTSD and a few other things. But long story short, I wasn't a pleasant person to be around. There's no secret there. And as much as, as good as things were with PTSD, one of the things is you can't accept the good, right? You can't let the good in. Because if you let the good in, some bad will come in, and then you're always preparing for like the worst thing that can happen. So, so fast forward several years, and in 2017, my wife and I and our kids, we had 3 at the time. We moved down to Sioux Falls for a job change for me, and that's when I decided to finally try this LifeVantage hoopla that Susie's brother was telling me about for 2 years. He was promising me it would be worth the shot, and I'm glad he did. I'm glad he wrapped me in love, and just kept on pouring into me for 2 years, and I finally did it. And that's how we got involved with LifeVantage. Was it? I believe it single-handedly saved me. I believe it saved us. I would say our relationship, our marriage, everything. So there's the quick story, I guess.
So what, I'm going to spend a few minutes here because I'm ex-Navy. I did my time in the U.S. Navy as well. Long before you went in, I was in when they took the Iranian hostages. Wow. I got out of boot camp. I went to A school, then I went to C school, and I trained recruits for several years. And then when the Iranian situation happened, put me on the USS Longboat, decommissioned in 1993, was 1,500 people. The experience on that boat changed my life. It made me pay attention to politics. I didn't see kind of the stuff that would create PTSD. We just didn't do the combat thing. But I understand every word of what you just spoke. And I also I get it. But I want to bring Susie in because Susie, for as long as he was in the military, you were serving as well. And then he comes home and you got this wreck, to say it lightly, that you have to maneuver through with the 3 kids and whatnot. How was life for you back then?
Man, it was pretty rough. I mean, you just said it. We had 3 kids. Our youngest one was 8 months old at the time. We had just moved. He had just started a new job. And so all of those things wrapped together were pretty stressful. And before we moved, he did go through cognitive processing therapy at the VA and tried to, start that healing process for himself. And the VA wanted to prescribe him medications, and he just wasn't on board with starting those medications. And I was supportive of him on that because I didn't want to lose him. I didn't want him to become numb with side effects that would make it harder to, interact with him daily on top of everything else, right? And so that was something that I did support him on that. He tried different other wellness tactics, right, to feel better. He started running more. He was eating better. But it really wasn't until activation came into our lives that was the thing that did it for him. And it was such a gift. But I remember it was about 5 or 6 weeks after we moved and after he had started his new job here in Sioux Falls. And he came home from work and he said, "Hey, what can I do to help you around the house today?" And I said, "Wait a minute, that's just not something that you would ask me." Before it was like walking on eggshells around him. He was always irritable, always in a bad mood. It was miserable some days. And I know that after that subtle time that he started activating his body, those subtle changes over time, I could tell that he was just in a better mood. He was happier. He was less irritable. He had more energy. He was a better dad and a better husband. And I just knew that if it could help him this much, if it could be, as helpful for anyone else, it was worth just sharing and spreading the word about this as well. So grateful for you just to have this outlet to be able to share this with people, because it really truly has changed our lives. I have my husband back. I mean, he mentioned we've known each other since high school. We were 16 when we first started dating. So high school sweethearts, now have 5 kids. And it's by the grace of God that we're here today sitting together, and so thankful for activation. Really, it truly has been, the biggest blessing.
When you mention God, it just always blows my mind that all of this stuff, this activation, this herbal synergized reality, from quantum physics to frequencies to now GLP, I can't do it, Tamara. GLP-1. I mean, there's all of this stuff that's in the shadow, if you will, the natural stuff that's in the shadow of the pharmaceutical industry. And I want to make a disclaimer here. What we're talking about, guys, we're not talking about healing you. We're talking about alternative medicines and things that are always there that we want to get that information out to you. I've been taking the Protandim NRF1, NRF2, and the NAD for 7 years. Actually, NAD when it started coming out. But Susie, you mentioned activation. I mean, what was it that Al started taking, all those years ago?
Good question. He started taking Protandim Nerve 2. It is the product that I believe everybody on Earth should be taking. All mammals can benefit from this product because it helps to reduce oxidative stress in the body. So it really helps to reduce inflammation. Oxidative stress is inflammation, and it is related to so many health conditions out there right now. And it's really getting to the root of those health conditions, right? Not putting a Band-Aid approach like the medications that he would have been prescribed. To me, that was a Band-Aid approach to his symptoms. And for him, activation with Nerve 2, with Protandim Nerve 2, reducing his oxidative stress was really getting to the root of his issue with issues with inflammation, right? Starting with inflammation and decreasing that. But he also started on Protandim Nerve 1, which really helps with mitochondrial biogenesis. So our mitochondria are the powerhouse of our cells. creating energy and really making sure that, our cells are regenerating as they should. And so that was really powerful for him to start. So that it was a combination of those two, those layers of cellular health that was really helpful for him. But not only that, it was Axio. So Axio is our brain drink. It works with our neurotransmitters in our brain, has L-theanine for brain calming effect, natural ingredients, B vitamins, no artificial flavors, colors,
Right.
Anything like that. But it's essentially a bath for our brain, waking up our brain cells and helping us feel more clear, focused. And that for him was really beneficial.
Well, because of that, and I'm familiar with Axios. Al, when did you notice that you were becoming normal again? How long into
honestly,
the product?
when Susie mentioned something to me. So I had been going through the first 6-7 weeks. Okay, I have a new job, new city. I didn't have that bar I'd like to sneak off to. I didn't have that bowling league I felt attached to. You know what I'm saying? So there was just so much. I'd go to work and I'd come home. I'd go to work, come home. There was always a box to unpack. There was always things to do with the move. And so I didn't notice that I was calm or calmer. I for sure I knew that I hadn't had blown up in talking with the kids. I hadn't punched a hole in the wall, which was very frequent at my previous house. I didn't have those anger outbursts. I felt comfortable going. I'm not gonna say super comfortable, but I felt more apt to say, if one of the kids said, "Can we go check out this mall?" or "Can we go check out this store?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's go check it out." Whereas before I'd be like, "No, man. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to be around a bunch of people." I didn't, so I didn't notice it. I was chalking it up to, well, I'm just taking a more relaxed approach to everything. The reality is, though, I wasn't. I was just able to process things more clearly, if that makes sense. Anything that would have caused me an immense amount of anxiety and worry, it wasn't as much, or it was a manageable amount of worry, a manageable amount of anxiety. It was something that I could process through and not blow up about. So that's when I started noticing it, when she said something. I am definitely one who I do much better when when Susie's like, "Hey, you look really good." Oh man, you can't tell me I look bad now. Susie said I look good, so I feel like $1,000,000, or when she said, "Gosh, you've been so calm and relaxed. I feel like I'm getting you back." I was like, "Well, it's got to be this thing. It's got to be this little yellow pill, because I haven't really done anything differently." And there's certainly enough that would have stressed me out throughout my day with work and then coming home. And I don't like stuff everywhere. I don't like clutter. No one does. But, some people can live around. I can't.
That's not
man.
true. I've gone into homes as a plumber where people are happy as all get out with clutter and filth and whatnot. So yes, but I get it. Okay, but okay. Yeah. So you started regaining your life, regaining your cognitive stuff as a result of the Protandim products, which the hardest part about having this conversation. I saw something today. I think Tamara may have posted it, or somebody did, but it said something about managing your health now will do something to protect your illness. Anyway, I agree with that. Now we're going to come back to you guys here in a little bit, and I want to introduce to the audience my youngest sister, Gina, is the baby of our family. She's been around for 55 years. I know that because I'm 10 years senior to her. And now, Gina, share a little bit about your experiences and what you're going through, and a little bit about your testimony, if you can.
Well, I've had the privilege of taking care of our mother for 15 years, minus 2 months. But 6 of the last years, I dealt with, a hysterectomy, 20 pounds of fibroid tumors, major cysts, learning that I wouldn't give birth to children, being in love with the man in my life, that wasn't going to be our journey, and all of that. And then, so what happened is I had to have a major surgery. So there was a massive, uh, removal of everything and a major cut straight down my center. Now, mind you, my brother introduced me to NRF1 and NRF2, the Protandem from LifeVantage, that just simply helps to activate life and bring life to the cells and balance and reduce inflammation and things like that. My husband and I had started with that maybe 7 years ago, 6 to 7 years ago. But then we, as life changed and things began to change, and we were adjusting and just managing the household here while I took care of our mom 24/7.
And your husband's mom.
Yes,
I mean,
we.
let's remember her.
Yes, thank God. We actually had my mother-in-law for a year before Joseph and I got married. So I had mom and my mother-in-law for 1 year, but um, then we had her for 4 of those years. And so I was carrying major weight protruding in my front. Simply I moved uh, the part of the medical fields that had to do with that area of my life. I just continued to see my primary care and things like that. And so, I had learned that if I didn't have problems with that, I wouldn't have to worry about it. I learned about it, back in 2005, 2007, where I just had a couple little small fibroids, but just moving and catching up. Some point in time 7 years ago, I just really blew up and I could hardly breathe. And I honestly thought I was just getting older and weight was carrying differently with me and that kind of thing. So moving on, I had the major surgery and the major cut that goes down right down the center, big long one. So they said to me, because it was such a massive surgery, that I should take the year to heal. It would take 6 months to a year, but they said take the whole year to heal. So I was very careful. Mom was very helpful. We did all we could. We did absolutely everything we could when it came to her and myself. And so, my mother-in-law had already passed. Like I said, we had her for only 4 years, which is, uh, so, I mean, I don't know. It's like Joseph and I have been married 10 years. So the very first 4 years, there was a lot of overlapping with life events. Um, so
She
anyway,
had she had Alzheimer's, right? She did.
she
Was
had
it Alzheimer's?
no, she had
Say,
severe so
dementia. Okay.
right. So we had her during the 6 year term of dementia, if anybody knows what that's like. So we had her for 6 years, we had her for 4, and then we had 2 years of visiting her and overseeing her management and care in her final 2 years in a nursing home nearby. So, but anyway, the caregiver is who I have been and needed, not understanding that I needed care completely. I was learning that as the years went by. So anyhow, after the surgery, I took the full year. The anniversary date of the year, I'm excited. My husband and I are going to rejoin, the Y, a very nice family, health center with a pool and everything. And I'm looking forward to doing that. And that day, on my anniversary date, I have a surgery mishap where it all falls apart. Okay, because what happened is the fascia, the stomach lining on the inside, just completely ripped open. the whole length of the surgical cut. It just completely
Wow.
it opens up. I'm literally just simply walking. I was careful getting in out of bed. I was careful helping mom. Mom was careful with me. I don't believe I was doing much of anything. It's just very much like a very thin. I felt it kind of come apart. I just didn't understand what was happening, but I felt it, and it felt a little bit animated. Like I can only liken it to like a cartoon where I feel my large and small intestines that I learned later just fall out. Everything's held up inside of you with your fascia, and I felt those organs just begin to drop into the abdomen and go boop, boop, boop. So I have a very large herniated abdomen, and it is very lopsided. So these are my pain points, and I don't have any problem sharing them because I've experienced them for 2.5 years now, where I've carried the lopsided herniated abdomen because it is not my desire. It wasn't my desire 1 year to my anniversary date, number one, to go back and get a major cut again. That was not what I wanted to do. I didn't want them to cut me again. And I was not interested in the great big green plastic beside me with twisty ties on the top, twisty ties on the bottom. Now, I heard different things and I heard things got better, but it just was not, it's still not my interest. Okay. So I meet the right doctor who I work for now. She's our family primary care physician. She saw our mom. She oversees me. She oversees my husband, Joseph. And when mom went home to be with the Lord, she asked me to come on to be her med assistant. And I've been in training since April. So, she basically told me, based on all that I saw you do with your mother, I just know you can learn this and you can do this. And so I've been with her, and she knows that I'm in my wellness journey as well. And that I really have a serious pain point. That is, I'm going to have surgery again. However, it will be a lot easier if I could just lose weight, get some of the fat down. There's fat in different areas, and make the surgery um, a little bit like just to prepare to be more successful in the sense that we want to minimize what needs to be done. We don't want the big mesh implant. We just want them to be able to put everything back and sew me back up. Now, I have said to myself, and I have been praying and I've been crying out and asking God, I need some. I was like, Lord, what strengthens the fascia? What strengthens your stomach lining? I was like, how do you work that out? How do you go exercise and strengthen that area? I used to run gyms and been, gym management, and I've been personal trainer, and I've done all the exercises and things that I've lost weight at one of the weakest areas in my life, but also have strong. So I was like, I have no idea how to strengthen the back. So anyway, walking minimally and standing minimally because it's very heavy on my lower back. Okay. So this is what I've been doing for 2.5 years. But I was saying, how do I do this? Listen, when I tell you that I am thrilled to pieces that I recently have been looking into the collagen. Okay. I really, it has brought so much joy to me. I cannot wait to get my own collagen and begin to strengthen that type of tissue in my body. I am thrilled to pieces. So first, I get introduced to the GLP-1 activator. Okay, let me slow down. I'm just going to go back a step. So since I've been in training as the medicine, I learned about, other weight loss type 2 diabetes agonists like Ozempic, and I help with prescriptions. So I help fulfill those prescriptions, you know, to the front. for our patients. I'm getting to know the patients. I room the patients, and I'm seeing and hearing their feedback. And as I learned, my first thought was, oh, maybe I could do this. And then I learned this is a shot. Well, I'm not interested in shots either. It's just my preference. Um, and so I said, no, I'm more interested in plant-based, anything that God made, that comes from the garden. I'm interested in that, and I want to learn that, and I want to be healthy, Gina. Okay, so as I listened, I completely had an absolute no inside my own heart spirit towards that. So I just said, well, I'll continue to do whatever I can. Now, over the past 2.5 years, I have fasted. I have fasted in different ways, meaning in growth, with fasting for spiritual reasons and for health reasons. And I have uh, just, like I said, but every time I would come off of the fast, I was still dealing with the same person that had the same patterns and the same results, meaning um, I know what it is. And all of the pharmaceutical reps feed us. And ever since I've been at my job, they come in with all kinds of great food. And so, I know what it is to sit there and enjoy my food. And I am hungry, or I was hungry. And I would tell my employer and my doctor, and she would say, what do you think's going on? I said, listen, I'm hungry. I said, and they're coming in here with all this food and I'm not turning it down. I mean, I will be selective. And I know how to fast. I know how to fast 3 days, 7 days, 2 weeks. I know how to do it. And I know how to do it wisely. And I know how to do it. I've learned, I've studied it. So, but I said, but when I come off that, I know what it is to enjoy food and eating. So, she said, oh, I would eat healthy choices, but okay. So moving on, then, other people began to tell me, they didn't feel that it was a natural reaction what they were feeling in their bodies when they were taking this, other things like Ozempic. Okay, so they began to say, "Don't do it." There's someone in the office who said to me, "Don't do it," and I said, "Okay, I absolutely am not going to do it." So anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm working, absolutely cry out to God for just something, for some sort of help. And then don't thank God for you, bro. Before I say how Tamara, inboxed me, I just want to say, you know, our mother, I want to just put this in here for a minute. My surgery fell apart. And then 1 month later, my mother and I caught COVID. My mother was 85. She was in stage 4 kidney disease, and there we were with COVID here. So I was dealing with a surgical mishap, taking care of our mother and myself with COVID. And so here we are. And so at that time, I was doing everything I could to be proactive and try to take care of our immune systems and everything, so that when we did face this without the shots, that we faced it with building our own immunity. Um, my mother came through flying colors, and I'm just telling you, one of the most meaningful moments in all of my life was this one right here. When I called my siblings, or I let my siblings know, listen, they want to give mom an IV with medication to help her fight COVID. And I said, but I don't know what it is. As soon as I get in here, I'm going to send the name of this medication to you. You guys need to, get on it and tell me what this is. So my brother, like you always have been Johnny on the spot. No matter what you are doing, if I immediately send you something, you will drop what you're doing, and you were on it, and you were. And what you did was you got right on it, which was the monoclonal antibody we begin to learn as we go by. But you get on it and you get on it with Tamara. And you ask Tamara, Tamara has like seconds to do this research. She has the seconds to do, and she desperately comes back with, kind of like the first thing she saw, which was a no, don't do it, Gina. So I packed our mother up. We completely left. We were driving back down the street in the inner city of our city. And we're driving down the street and I'm going, what am I going to do, God? We're here with COVID. I've got my mother with COVID. And we're driving down the street. And then Tamara goes, forgive me. It was just, I only had seconds. Go back, go back. She goes, Gina, the monoclonal antibody, which I'm thrilled to pieces about. And she goes, it was great for my parents. I take my mother back before they even knew we left. And we completed a wheelchair, everything. I was like, bam, bam, bam. Mind you, I am like protruding like I'm 9 months pregnant for the last 7 years almost. This is what this has been like. Before surgery, well, the 1 year that I healed up, I was back together again. And then 2.5 years after. So anyway,
I'm gonna kind of jump in here pretty soon, sis, but I'll go ahead and finish your thought.
well, so this is what was so meaningful to me. And then when Tamara jumped into my inbox and told me all she had to say was, Gina, we just came out with the natural and holistic alternative, that's an agonist, that's to help you with your own GLP-1. And so I said, what? I nailed it. She didn't have to say another word. I jumped at it. I went right for your link. I went and I got it immediately. I knew as soon as it dropped on the 11th, as soon as it was released, I was going to be there like Johnny on the spot. And I was. And I just immediately, it was a no-brainer for me because I knew that this was not only going to bring activation in my own body, but it was going to help bring balance. And then I knew I was going to put the NRF2 along with collagen to help my own body. But there are so many people that my life affects that need the help as well. And I knew that I was going to be able to offer that to our patients and to my friends and my family. So I'm blessed. I thank God for you, my brother, and I thank God for Tamara. And I thank God for LifeVantage because I've been looking for what was going to help me strengthen my fascia before I go back for surgery, which I'm going to try to strengthen everything, as fast as I can lose weight and strengthen myself. I don't know. Maybe it'll take 6 months. Maybe it'll take a year. We'll see.
Before I go to Tamara, how long have you been taking the GLP-1 now?
I've almost completed 2 weeks. I know.
Okay, good.
Okay.
We're going to come back to that, okay?
Yep.
And that's good to know. Now, okay, Tamara, you're up next, kiddo.
All right.
Now, you're going to can you give us, I'll just let you share the information that you want people to know about when it comes to your journey with LifeVantage and now the GLP-1.
Okay, well, let me introduce myself first. Tamara Layton. I live here in Grand Forks, North Dakota with my husband, Darren. We too have been with LifeVantage. I want to say it's about 6.5 years. And Susie is the one that introduced my husband to this. Long story short, she worked in his clinic as an athletic trainer. My husband's an orthopedic surgeon. I'm a nurse. And my husband was in the backyard. He ended up actually falling, breaking, open fracture of his ankle as an orthopedist, right? And so he finally took the time. She had been asking him to kind of look at this. And so he finally took the time and looked at the science and he thought, what is this? Why have we never heard about this? And I think what I want people to really understand is this technology that we're talking about, activation, it goes way beyond supplementation, you guys. This company, LifeVantage, is really pioneering in this technology of activation, which is simply taking nutrition molecules and activating pathways that lead to repair, recovery, and rejuvenation of the cell. So it is beyond just bringing nutrients that are needed in the cell. We're actually activating the body to actually make what it needs. Our hashtag that we like to say is we take it to make it. So it's a very, very different. And just to kind of get into a little bit of the GLP-1 discussion here, this is the latest activator that LifeVantage recently launched, which was on October 11th. And I think just for some clarification, I want to say that this is not what many people are familiar with, like Gina was talking about, the GLP-1 agonists that we're hearing so much about from the big pharma ads to in the doctor's office to, maybe your girlfriends are talking about this weight loss drug, right? The Ozempics, the Wegovy, the tirzepatide, the semaglutide, those names, and which come in the form of an injectable. Those are artificial, they're synthetic, they're made by big pharma. And basically what they're trying to do is they're actually trying to mimic the effects of our own natural GLP-1 hormone in our body. Yes, we actually do have a natural all GLP-1 hormone in our body that I'm going to be getting into. But with those effects, it's as you kind of get into the research and start really kind of reading about it, it's really tricking the brain to believe that your body's actually, released this hormone. And with that is coming a lot of side effects that we're really hearing a lot about, not only the simple things of nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, but we're hearing about renal failure. We're hearing about gastroparesis. We're hearing about pancreatitis. Recently, I read something about visual disturbances, even blindness with Ozempic. So there are serious, serious side effects. People are desperate. We've got a nation that's massively overweight, and not just adults. Now we've got children. I want to say the latest statistic is 50% of our children are overweight. And actually in Congress right now, they're talking about approving Ozempic for children for weight loss. This is a drug for the most part has been prescribed for type 2 diabetes, but now they're prescribing it for weight loss as well. But what we're talking about tonight, what the audience really needs to understand is this is not that, okay? We are talking about the GLP-1 hormone in your body. The name for that is glucagon-like peptide. And again, it's a natural hormone that your body produces, okay? It's made in the small intestine, and it's actually considered a digestive hormone. And it's not the only one in there. There's actually 52 hormones, digestive hormones that your body produces. But the one that we're going to focus on tonight is GLP-1. GLP-1's primary role, kind of responsibility in the body is actually to help manage blood sugar, to help regulate blood sugar, okay? It also helps with appetite control as well as digestion. With the role, the function of blood sugar management, there's a significant metabolic health benefit with that and how it affects the body. Number one, it stimulates insulin secretion. It actually signals the pancreas. It also slows down the rate in which the food actually leaves the stomach, as well as it inhibits food intake. So you've got this feeling of satiation, satisfaction, you feel full. And that is coming from this hormone in your small intestine. As the food crosses across that receptor, it's actually speaking to your brain through the vagus nerve, okay? So this is very different from that, but to really understand, I think, Jeff, the wide, broad aspect of how this is really affecting health by activating this. And maybe I should back up for just a second. Why would we need to activate it, right? They're finding out that we need to activate it because that hormone has really been silenced. It's been muted. The communication that's happening within the body, it's become dampened because of all the toxins in our environment, because of all the toxins in our food. So we don't have that communication that's going on anymore. And again, like I said, the primary function is to actually manage blood sugar, right? And it's a digestive hormone. And it does that function by speaking to two different organs in our body. One, our liver, and then number two, our pancreas. So when we eat food It is the GLP-1 hormone's responsibility to actually alert the liver to let it know that, you know what, you don't need to release any more glucose into the blood because we just had a meal, a sufficient meal that's got plenty of glucose in it. I don't need any, the body doesn't need any more, okay? So it is the responsibility of that hormone to alert the liver to not do that. If the liver's not been alerted to do that, it's because the GLP-1 did not do that, okay? The other responsibility to kind of help manage blood sugar in our bloodstream is for that GLP-1 hormone to then alert the pancreas that insulin needs to be released because we've got blood sugar in our bloodstream, okay? But not only does the GLP-1 call upon the pancreas to release insulin, the bloodstream also alerts the pancreas that it needs to release insulin. Okay, so if you've got high blood sugar in the bloodstream, it will alert the pancreas to release insulin. But why do you have high blood sugar in your bloodstream? It's because the GLP-1 hormone did not alert the liver. It did not communicate to the liver to not do that. Okay. So then you've got this chronic scenario going on of one, the GLP-1 hormones not alerting the liver to not dump a bunch of glucose, as well as now the bloodstream is calling upon the pancreas to dump in more insulin. So you've got high blood sugars and you've got this chronic insulin situation going on in your bloodstream. And what happens is what's called insulin resistance. And the diagnosis for that is type 2 diabetes, okay?
Okay, I got to jump in here real quick. Don't lose your thought here. I am suffering from type 2 diabetes, and I want to tell a story about a very good friend of mine. Tamara, hold on to your thought. Folks, we might go a little bit longer here because I know that Susie's got a bunch of stuff that she's going to offer to the conversation, so this is going to be a little longer program. Friends of mine, Stephen Ballinger, good friend of mine, he went to the doctors and they said, well, we're going to treat you for pneumonia. Well, it turns out that he didn't have pneumonia. His wife finally took him to the doctors or to the hospital emergency, and they came back in the room and said, you have stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and you have maybe 2 days to live, at best 2 weeks. This just happened. It was a gigantic shock to all of us. Okay, he didn't have type 2 diabetes. He didn't know he had this. This was completely caught all of us off guard. He died 15 days later. Now, I've been looking at the pancreas and the liver. What we didn't know, what I didn't know, as family probably knew, is that his pancreas and his liver were dead. And that's why he was terminal. So, oh gosh, I wish we had known about all this stuff back in the day. And the problem is, there's two problems with this, myself included. I haven't been very studious about this, but the pancreas and the liver, man, when those two start getting screwed up, you got all kinds of systems in your body going haywire. So I'm actually getting back on track, taking care of myself, but now I have something here. When I found out that this GLP-1 was really about blood pressure and blood sugar, I went, okay, and it's naturally causing this hormone to activate, to maybe restore. Okay, I got to get on this. It has to happen. But we don't know. And the thing that I know Tamara was going to touch on is that we have so much stuff blocking the receptors in our bodies because of the poisons that we're ingesting and the chemicals and all this stuff. Tamara, I didn't want you to lose your thought, but I want people to know that, yeah, I'm going to do the products that they're coming out with because I have to clean up my pancreas so that my liver can function better. And I'm learning all of this stuff. And if I don't do it, I'm going to die. It's just that simple, or get worse. Tamara, finish your thought, please.
Well, and, I just want to quickly jump in and just say, you know what, by no means are we making any claims that these products can cure, treat, or mitigate any disease, okay? That's not what we're doing. We are just simply talking about cell function here and trying to improve cell function and trying to improve the communication, with the cells within our body. So what I was saying is when you've got a chronic situation with high blood sugar, as well as now high insulin, because the blood is constantly calling upon the pancreas to drop in more insulin because the sugar is constantly high. Now you're creating a situation that they call insulin resistance. Okay. The cell becomes resistant to the insulin because the insulin is constantly knocking at the cell's door and saying, open up. I want to bring in more glucose and nutrients, because the hormone insulin is needed. It actually attaches to the receptor on the cell. All cells have receptors for this hormone insulin. That is how we actually get the nutrients and the glucose into the cell. So when that insulin is sitting out there in the bloodstream all the time, just like an antibiotic, if we're constantly taking antibiotics, we become resistant. Well, that's exactly what's happening to our cells. They're becoming resistant, and they do not want to respond to the insulin to be able to bring the glucose and the nutrients into the cell. When that happens, all of a sudden, now you've got a cell that's aging more quickly. You've got oxidative stress. And now as oxidative stress increases within the cell, now you've got mitochondrial dysfunction. It's destroying the cell. It's aging the cell more quickly, okay, which will lead to disease. So like I was telling Jeff, this is so incredible, because you know what? This is now, I think, really the final piece, because we're moving again upstream. We've been talking about these activators, for a while. NRF2, NRF1, NAD. That's fixing the things that the function within the cell, trying to improve function within the cell, getting the cell to actually speak to the DNA within the cell. Okay, this is going upstream and actually now focusing on this GLP-1 hormone, and not only increasing the production of this hormone, so you've got more around, and we'll talk about that in just 1 second here, but actually helping for that GLP-1 to now communicate to the organs that it needs to communicate to the brain, to actually help feel satiated and full, as well as now responding appropriately to the liver as well as to the pancreas, and having our blood sugar managed the way it's supposed to be managed. And the side effect of all of that, you guys, of all that goodness, that's weight loss. That's weight loss,
That's
So
amazing.
this is about so much more than just weight loss. And so, like I was telling Jeff, I said, digestion, what we're understanding is digestion, and digestion is not just, the digestion of your food. It's actually taking your food, those food molecules, and then actually getting those nutrition molecules to the appropriate cells, and calling upon the appropriate hormonal intervention that's needed to actually get that nutrition into the cell. So that we're understanding more and more that digestion is really connected to health and longevity. This is truly the last piece, I believe, to really regain our health. And so this is an amazing tool. And it's a two-part. You want me to kind of quickly go through exactly what this is, Jeff? Do I have time?
You can. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I can start back in here. The first slide here.
Okay.
This is the actual product. Go ahead.
Yep, it's a two-part system. So we've got pills here, which are the actual activator. So this is actually activating that hormone, which again, like I said, is produced in the small intestine. There's special cells called L cells that it's actually activating to produce more of this hormone. And it's dual amplification, we call it. And then we've got a powder here, the second part of the system. And what this is doing is actually providing your gut microbiome with digestive enzymes, short chain fatty acids, which actually come from fiber, for the GLP-1 hormone to feed upon and to actually flourish. Okay.
Yeah, hold that can up again, the canister you had, so we can see it. So it's a pretty big canister.
It is 30 days in here. The dose in the morning, what we do is we actually take 2 capsules of this, a synergistic blend of herbs, which I do not have memorized yet, you guys. But basically this on a empty stomach, nothing to eat for 30 minutes. You could drink black coffee, you know, black tea, whatever, but nothing that actually has any calories in it. And then what I've been doing with this powder is I've been actually splitting it up a little bit. I take 2 scoops in the morning and then 2 scoops in the afternoon when I typically, you know, feel like I'm hungry. So it's got 13 grams of fiber in it. It's got a significant amount of fiber. Like I said, it's got a proprietary blend of digestive enzymes, and it's also got a superbiotic in it that we don't talk enough about it. That's called Akkermansia. Akkermansia was discovered, oh gosh, I want to say it was in 2019 that they discovered. And this is really a phenomenal superbiotic that lives in your gut. It lives in the mucosal lining, and it actually really speaks to your immune system. And it truly, truly helps this GLP-1 hormone flourish in the gut.
And the thing about this here product is, you mentioned side effects with the Ozempic and some of the other ones, and I've done some reading on that, and it's pretty bad, some of the side effects. And the thing that blows my mind is they're taking this product and then they're watching the side effects develop. We don't have the side effect from this product is weight loss. I mean, I read some of the stuff where people gain weight or they get a little inflamed or whatnot, but really it's kind of a corrective thing if I understand it. And Susie, I'm going to ask you to kind of walk us through some of the stuff that you know about this here in a few moments. But yeah, it's kind of like if you fall down in the dirt, you don't stand up clean. You have to go wash yourself off. It takes time. There's things that you have to do. So, but to take a natural product versus a synthetic product, I'm on board with that all day long. My sister echoed that very thing. Synthetic, I'm actually going to have a person on the program who's going to give us a history about how synthetic medications manage care for the most part. We got rid of all the things that cure us. Now we're managing things. There's a whole conversation we can have about that. This is not the show to do that. But I'd rather put something natural in my body than something unnatural that's going to create. I watch these commercials on TV from the pharmaceutical industry, and I'm not one to celebrate the wonders of the pharmaceutical industry, not anymore anyway at all. But I watch this stuff and it says, take this, get rid of your headache. Oh, here's 15 side effects. I learned that the side effects are the parts of that product that your body's rejecting. So you got 15 things that your immune system is now fighting. But the one reason you took the product, yes, it's managing your situation, chaos on the other side of it. I absolutely understand this now as a stage 4 cancer survivor. I kind of get it. I understand how the medical or the pharmaceutical industry operates. And by the way, for those of you who don't know this, the pharmaceutical industry is the largest industry in the globe. It is the biggest industry on this planet. So anyway, that's another conversation. This here clinically shows natural increased GLP-1 by 140% on average. What does that mean, Tamara?
They did initially LifeVantage did an in-house gene study that showed incredible results. I mean, incredible results. In gene studies, you cannot fudge. Okay, I just want you to know that. Because of those results, they then actually sought out an independent third party to do a human clinical trial. So this is an entity that has no skin in the game, right? They really could care less what the results end up being. There were 60 adults in this study. It was a 12-week study, and the results were phenomenal, Jeff. There was 140% average increase in GLP-1 production. 100% of the users actually retained their muscle mass. There was a 27% reduction in visceral fat. Visceral fat is that really dangerous fat that's, wrapped around our organs. Okay. And then there was up to 25 pounds lost in 12 weeks. The end of the study averaged 11 pounds lost, 9 pounds in 8 weeks. And then, like I said, with up to 25 pounds in 2 weeks, which is phenomenal. It really is. There's nothing like this out on the market. There's nothing that has a human clinical trial. This is the only product that I know of that is patent pending. That's a big deal. Anything else I'm missing, Susie?
Well, we're going to go ahead and shift over to Susie because, Susie, if I understand it right, You've been doing LifeVantage. You guys have been doing LifeVantage for 7 years. You've been pretty successful. I'm going to have you guys talk about that success, what it's meant to your life, and also echo some of the things that that you're seeing as a result of the GLP-1 and this natural product that's causing natural GLP hormones to be reactivated, so to speak. I'll let you go ahead and by the way, I want to respect your time. We already are at our hour, but I think we can go a little bit longer. I know you got 5 kids. Your living room's a mess right now. I can imagine that. But anyway, Susie, go ahead and talk. Give us the information you want the audience to know, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this, like I mentioned before, it's been a blessing to be able to share these products with other people and hear those life-changing stories. I know Tamara mentioned that we don't claim to cure, treat, mitigate, prevent any health condition. However, when you activate and give your body the tools that it's needed to thrive in your health, I mean, you're going to see amazing things happen. And that's what we've seen in our lives. And we've just, I wish that we could download into your brains the amount of stories that we've heard from people of, you know, just reaching out saying, oh my gosh, my sleep is just unreal. It's never been this good. Or my energy is through the roof and I've never felt this good. And that changes lives. When you have people that you know, say that they've never been able to feel this good, and they then turn around and they're helping others and they're serving more, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. And so I truly feel like that alone has been such a blessing. But not only that, to be able to share these products with others, and then the income side of it, as far as, you know, sharing with people, there is that gift that we've been giving as far as, you know, the income potential. I mean, when I first started doing this as a business, it was only to bless other people. But I knew that, you know, if I could help with our kids go to private school, and that was something that was, you know, we needed to have to pay their tuition. And so I knew that if I could help our family pay that tuition, that would be such a great thing. And so that's kind of when I started sharing these products and sharing with people. I wanted to be able to do that for our family and take care of our kids' school tuition. But since then, I mean, it's been 7 years, but I feel like we just, especially since this new product has come out, I mean, Tamara nailed it on the head as far as what this is doing to kind of solidify, you know, we're activating the body, we're activating our cellular health, but now working upstream and really helping it all well-rounded work together so well. And I know people are seeing that and they're wanting it. And GLP-1 is such a buzzword right now because of the pharmaceuticals out there. But what we're doing is something different. We're activating our body to make that hormone, and we're doing it naturally. And I think that people want those natural approaches to health. They don't want synthetic ingredients in their bodies. They don't want those nasty side effects. And I think that alone has helped to skyrocket this opportunity for people to share. And that has blessed us so much. And I know that, you know, we want that for other people as well.
Now you, okay, so when the product hit the market, it flew, from my understanding, flew off the shelf, okay? Do you have any testimonies? I mean, it's only been a couple of months now, but do you have any, you or Al, have any specific stories that you'd like to share? And we are going to wrap up soon. I'm going to give each one of you an opportunity to have a last word. But are there any stories that you want to share or testimonies about others in your lives that might resonate with our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will let Al share most of that. But personally, I've been taking the product. It's been almost 4 weeks for both of us. And I haven't noticed a drastic reduction in weight. However, because I know what it's doing in my body, I have noticed unreal sleep. My sleep has just been phenomenal. My clarity and focus is a new level. And we talked about Axio before, how it upregulates those neurotransmitters in our brain and helps with focus and clarity. It's like a bath for our brain. With GLP-1 activation, it's like stepping into a shower with all the jets running on top of you every which way on your body. I mean, it's just that new level of clarity and focus in my body. And so those are a couple of things that I've really noticed that I love. And the weight loss, I know, will be a side effect coming down the road. I know my clothes are fitting better. I have less inches, but I want Al to share exactly what he's felt, because it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, all right, being a Navy vet, yeah, you know how sweet those pea coats were from back in the day. So I have always held on to my pea coat because I had a feeling I'd move back up to the Dakotas at some point, and that pea coat is pretty fly. So I've always had it tucked away in a closet because, I mean, I would button it, and it was fat guy in a little coat. I couldn't do it. I couldn't breathe if I was wearing it. I threw it on the other night because it fits. So today is day 26 for me on GLP-1. I'm down 15 pounds, and I'm down 18.8 inches. That's measuring my neck, chest, shoulders, waist, thighs. Like my thighs they are shrinking a lot. Like they're not rubbing anymore, which is a pain point after a while. And my shirts have gotten a lot more roomy. I have I've got a bigger chest, so anyways, I've always been self-conscious about even when I was in the Navy and in great shape, I still had some extra baggage on my chest. They called me Private Benjamin, which was really rude because we don't have privates in the Navy, so it's even worse. Anyway, so I hated that, but it was what it was. And anyways, it's going down. So yeah, my results aren't going to be everyone's results. However, through 26 days, I feel just a lot more confident in the choices I am making every day. I don't feel I'm the type of guy who would go rake the yard and then want to crack a few cold ones, right? Like I would reward myself with beer or with a burrito, like foods that weren't necessarily nourishing me. And I don't feel that way. I feel a lot more energetic. I feel happy going out and doing things in the yard or working on the Jeep or staying up late doing the dishes, whatever, all those little things. It doesn't bother me, and I don't feel like I need to reward myself either because I am not craving the beer, the nachos. I'm not craving the late nights in front of the TV. I'm not craving anything. I want to go to sleep. And then when I wake up in the morning, I feel like I just got shot out of a cannon and I'm ready to go. And so for me, I feel like it's just been a whole, like Susie said, a whole nother level to my activation journey. And I'm not saying it's the bow on the top yet, but it's getting pretty close. I mean, it feels great. Just feel like the full package of activation right now. And the last 26 days have been that way for me on GLP-1. So the weight loss, it'll come and go, right? Like it'll plateau. I've been at about 15 pounds lost now for a week. But I've also had the energy to go work out and do more strength training. I hired a personal trainer, because I'm fully committed to this. And I know I'm not going to throw it away by eating bad food because I'm not craving it. I haven't had a drink in 28 days. I'm not. This is a life changer for me, and the GLP-1 has just solidified how I feel. So it's been great, and I stopped snoring, which is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was within a week.
Really?
Yeah, that was within a week I stopped snoring.
From taking the GLP-1? From the GLP-1? Is that from the GLP-1? Because you've been taking the NRF.
I can attest to it. I sleep right next to him, obviously. So I know that within that first week, I noticed that he wasn't snoring anymore. And that was the only thing he added. That was the only thing he had changed. Yeah. So I don't know. I think kind of just something that I want to, throw out there to anybody that's listening is that after hearing what we're saying and knowing that we're doing this the natural way, right? We're not throwing synthetics in our body. Who do you know that could benefit from this? And once you know what you know, you can't not share this with someone that may be needing this in their lives. And I will share, Jeff, this is on my heart to share because of what you shared just a few minutes ago. My dad passed away a couple of months ago from pancreatic cancer. And I know personally that if this could again, we don't claim to cure, treat, prevent, or mitigate anything. But if
Right.
this could have an impact in my health and my cells in my body and activate my GLP-1 hormone to make sure that my pancreas and my liver are working correctly, that
Right.
would be all that I would want, right? Is to make sure that I'm being proactive with my health. And that is huge for a lot of people. And we need to make sure people know about that.
How do people contact you guys? I mean, I was going to ask you, Al, do you work outside of the home now? Are you doing a 9 to 5 room?
Yeah, actually I am. Yep. So yeah, I'm a production technology manager for a sports broadcasting company. So
Right on.
And I enjoy it.
Good, and you enjoy it. I mean, I love the fact that the PTSD is behind you, and I've known several who have had PTSD, and I understand. I know one couple, the wife was done. And he did a couple of things and his life got better and they're doing something on a different level, but it made a big difference because I know that the wives go through hell when their soldiers come back or their sailors come back, kind of screwed up from what we experienced. I didn't experience any of that stuff because I didn't do the combat thing. But anyway, I really, really want to congratulate you guys on your marriage, your 5 kids, the fact that this came into your life. It's made a big difference. It's been a wonderful thing financially for you, as I understand it. I thank you so much for coming onto the program. And this is all going to be recorded, so these are going to be available to share. I'll make sure you get all of it, or you can just get it off Facebook, my YouTube page. I prefer Rumble because I'm a Rumble person, not a YouTube person. Okay. But anyway, when it comes to the loss of your father, I'm sorry about that. My sister's going to talk about a loss that we experienced from pancreatic cancer as well. In fact, Gina, we're going to give you a little bit of time here to kind of close out the show with whatever you want to share.
Well,
oh, by the way, hang on a second. All of you are consultants as LifeVantage. So people can reach out to you. How do they contact you, Susie?
Gosh, I think the best way to contact me, I'm going to give you my email. I think that would be the best thing to reach out. And my email is suzie.benjamin34@gmail.com. It's SUZIE.benjamin, BENJAMIN 34@gmail.com. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are you the contact person then for your consulting? Okay.
Yes.
So that was Suzie, SUZIE. I don't know. One more time.
Suzie.benjamin34@gmail.com.
Okay, good. Now, Gina, with Tamara, you're. How do people reach you?
Well, I'll just offer my email up as well, which is leetunt@gmail.com, spelled LEETUNT@gmail.com. And again, I would be happy to answer any questions as well.
And the newest consultant in the LifeVantage sister, I'm a consultant to you guys. I've been a consultant for a long time, but I just take basically the products. I'm going to be switching gears on that here shortly. But Gina, my sister, who I love dearly, you became a consultant, but share a little bit about our brother. We lost him to I'll let you tell the story.
Well, we lost him to pancreatic cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
2016.
One of the, 7 of us.
Right.
I would just like to say how I feel with the GLP-1. I'm full all day. I don't feel like I am living to eat. I feel like I'm eating to live.
Wow.
I'm lucky. We went to go vote, and Joseph's like, "You want this special coffee? I'm gonna get one. It's got whipped cream and chocolate in the top." And I was like, "Honey, I don't want it." I was like, "I'm full, but more than that, I'm full. I don't want it. Like I crave 2 eggs in the morning, and that was kind of like it, for like my first 5 days. And then, greens and grains and Greek salads and, apples. I just am enjoying this life of feeling satisfied, not just full all day, but satisfied. If you have the right nutrients, the body, I know that you can feel satisfied. But this is different. It's that and a little bit more. I do have energy. I have more energy. It's obvious. I am resting well. Um, so I've been getting acclimated to it. I knew I was going to start right out with my they're little mini scoops. I love the taste. It's a nice vanilla taste and flavor. I absolutely love it. I will spoon it, with my almond milk. I will just spoon it right into the very last drop. I love it, and I'm enjoying it. So I just wanted to share that part. I just did my measurements a week ago. So these are, these are my uh changes and experiences with it so far, because I got it on the 18th and I did some fasting for the election and everything like that. So I timed it that I wasn't going to be starting it right away. And so, I think my measurements and everything just were done almost a week ago, kind of thing. So, but I'm experiencing these other things, that balance
Right.
and that, happiness, feeling full, and I don't feel like I have to eat everything, and not eating everything on my plate and having smaller portions, and I'm loving it.
How do people, as a consultant for LifeVantage, how do people contact you, sis?
Well, you can contact me by my email as well. I'm almost ready to give my phone number, but I won't. But we'll go ahead with my email because I'm a texter. But my email is a Gmail account with 6 letters, and that's GIDEBR at, 44 @gmail.com. So the 6 letters again are GIDEBR, the number 44
What?
at
What
gmail.com.
is that? I've been wanting to ask you for 10 years. What is the G? What is that? Where'd you get that email from, sis?
What do I have to say?
No, you don't have to say. Okay. Wait, we can't. You cut out. You cut out. You're cutting out. We can't hear you. What'd you say?
That's okay. I'm just protective of some things, and that's all. I'm good with it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So we said goodbye to our mother last September. She actually passed away on the same day as her mother, who gave birth to 14 children. My mother was a twin. The twins outlived the other 12, mom being the very last one to go. I led her to the Lord 48 years ago. She never turned back. She lived her entire life for the Lord, right up until the day. She had 4 strokes, which precipitated my sister from moving in to help her manage the last of her years for 14 years. So my sister Gina has been a godsend to all the rest of us, because her and her husband, they did step in and they took care of our mother, who was cognitively fine. She was, like my brother said, she was easier to manage. But the bottom line is there are products out there, folks, that are alternatives to the many, 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 many commercials that you see the pharmaceutical industry putting out. They put out a new commercial every 5 minutes about something you can't pronounce with 15 side effects. And I would just caution you and encourage you to look at the LifeVantage, contact the folks that I've interviewed tonight and had this discussion with, and learn about natural ways to reactivate our body in the way that God created it. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming on and doing the podcast. We're just about an hour and 30 minutes long. I'm pretty sure there's 5 kids over in somewhere in Dakotas that have destroyed the house by now. We raised 4, and my mother had 7. So I understand all of that. Susie and Al, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your story. Thank you for your service, and I'm glad you recovered from, the hell that was going on, in all those years. Susie, it's a godsend that you stuck by, stayed there, and planted your feet after a high school sweetheart. I mean, I love those stories, okay? My wife and I have 34 years of marriage, so I kind of get it. And of course, Tamara, you're like my buddy, you and Darren. Be glad. I hope to one day come back and visit you guys. I really do.
I hope so.
I planted a couple of money trees out in the backyard. I hope they mature before I die, okay? And sis, I love you. Thank you. I'm glad. I think you made the right decision.
I love you too.
To get involved. Yeah, absolutely. And gosh, you're the only one still in Rochester. Yeah, no, God. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. Let's talk about it. This is all recorded, and it'll be available for you to use as you please, okay? Does anybody have any parting words that they want to offer before we sign off? Are we good?
Thank
all
you.
All right, Carol.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, God bless you guys. Amen. Hey, pray for me. I'm going to Israel December the 1st, and I really need a lot of prayer, not because I'm afraid of going over there, just other things that are going on financially. So just pray for me and that trip and all of the folks that are going with me. It's a tour. I'm certainly not afraid to go to Israel. That's what my website's all about, Free from Fear. I just want to be able to eat while I'm there. So God bless you all. Thank you for coming on. Let's talk about it. And maybe we can do this again a little later on down the road, okay?
Thank you,
That's it,
John.
Carol. Take us away. Bye-bye, you guys.